children. Thank you so much for volunteering. We're going to have some other teachers observing our lesson today. So I'm sure you'll all be on your best behavior. And thank you for sitting on the other side of the tape. We just don't want to get too close to the board because then you're going to squish Miss Jill, and that's just not good for anybody. All right, so today we're going to learn about shapes. And before we get started, I just want to get an idea of what kinds of shapes you all know about. So I'm going to point to a shape up here, and if you know what the shape is, if you can raise your hand and tell me. So does anyone know what shape this is? Jennifer?
It's a square.
It's a square. Now give me a thumbs up if you agree with Jennifer that it's a square. And a thumbs down, oh, and a confident head shake. Thumbs up. Okay, everyone agrees that's a square. How about this shape right here? Rebecca?
Triangle.
Triangle. Thumbs up if you agree with Rebecca that it's a triangle. Double thumbs up. All right. How about this shape? James?
Circle.
Circle. Thumbs up if you agree with James. Thumbs down if you're not sure. Another double. And how about this fourth shape? Karen?
Diamond.
A diamond. Why do you think that's a diamond?
I don't know, I was just trying to throw a little.
That's okay. Thank you. Thumbs up if you agree with Karen that it's a diamond. Thumbs down if you disagree.
You guys
okay.
are mean.
I see a couple thumbs down. Who thinks they know what that shape is? Who disagrees? James?
It's a rectangle.
I think it's a rectangle.
I think it's a tall square.
A tall square. Why do you think that, Jennifer? That's a great
It
answer.
was like the square just got taller.
Ah. And how many sides does the square have?
Does have 4.
And how many sides does the rectangle have?
Does have 4.
They both have 4 sides. You're right. What?
So does a diamond.
So does a diamond. Well, Karen, you should have explained that before. No, you're absolutely right. So as we go through the lesson, we'll learn a little bit more about what the difference is between the rectangle and the square, but that was a very good observation. Thank you. You're also very well-behaved children, actually raising your hands. All right, so I'm actually going to skip, just so I'm going to talk to you for a minute. Experience learning coach strategies. You don't have to watch those. You can skip them. You can watch them, but they're intended oftentimes for parents who are perhaps homeschooling their children. We call them learning coaches. So I'm just going to skip it because I don't want to bring that up on the screen. So I'm going to go to Lesson Navigator.
That was one of the questions I had, was balancing the online with teacher itself and students, but I guess you really get to know that once you start diving into the lessons. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it should,
I know
like,
what you mean.
if you click that one and then you're like, oh, kids, that's
I'm
not meant
supposed
for
to read
you,
this to
that's for
myself.
me, just,
Yeah.
and they're
Oh,
like, blah, blah,
yes,
you know, they're
yes.
chatting with their friends and you not being ready to deliver the lesson.
Right, then that's something we'll talk about in the lesson planning portion, how for some subject areas in particular, it's super important just to go through the lesson, before you teach it, because in some cases, like in art, for example, there's some slides that you don't need to pull up for your children. It'll be directions for you. So, but that's something we'll mention. That's actually usually not the case in math. It's usually all, to be presented to the children. But that's a good point. Thank you, Jennifer.
And
That
that's
was
being a
great.
student and sing.
All right. So we're going to jump to calendar. So before we get more into shapes, we're just going to do a little review about the calendar. So we need to find the name of the month on this calendar. Who thinks they can find, or who knows where the name of the month is located on that calendar? Karen, do you think you can go up and click on the name of the month?
March.
March. Very good. The month is March. I should have asked if you agreed. I forgot that part. But you're right. Very good. The name of the month is March. And if we hit check. Hit check. All right. Now we're going to get more into the shapes. And we're going to look at Johnny, who made a cat out of shapes. Have any of you ever made a picture using shapes? Yeah, Rebecca, what have you made a picture of?
I made a house.
You made a house. Cool. Anybody else?
I made a car.
You made a car. Nice. What shape were the
Circle
wheels?
wheels.
Circle wheels. Wonderful. Anyone else?
She took my house.
She stole your house idea. That's okay. You can both make pictures of houses. All right. Wonderful. So we're going to look at Johnny's cat. And I'm going to call on you and ask you to come up and click on a certain part of the cat. So who can come up and click on the cat's ears? Jennifer. And everyone will get a turn.
Triangle.
Triangle. The ears are triangles. Very good. Who can come up and find the cat's face? James.
Circle.
Circle. Very good. Thank you, James. Oh, and this is perfect.
He looks mad.
Yeah, he doesn't really have an expression, does he? No.
He's mad now.
Cat is expressionless. And he has a red face.
Yeah.
Yes. Who can click the cat's tail? Thank you, Rebecca.
Rectangle.
Rectangle. And the last
Miss
part.
Jill,
the
he's
cat's-
over the line.
Oh, James, can you move back just a little bit? In line with the rest of our friends? Thank you. I know who the troublemaker is. Who can click on the cat's body?
Oh, and Karen. He's on the tattletale.
Square.
And we have our square. Very good. And just as an aside, for students, 4 things to click on. That's not always the case, obviously, but that's one of the reasons I have my popsicle stick jar, so that everyone knows they have an equal chance of getting picked. So for example, if James had gone first, I could have picked his stick out and made sure that the other children would then get, equal turns. So it prevents some disagreements. Workshop,
count?
and she's gonna need help sorting her shape blocks. So, yeah, sorry. I'm still getting used to this too, so I'm just gonna expand that for you all. So what we have to do is help her sort things into the correct bin. So I'm gonna do the first one as an example. I'm gonna click this right here. And when I look at it, I see there's 4 sides, and they all look like they're the same length. So I think that's a square. So I will click here and put it in my square bin.
Yeah.
Can you drag it?
Probably could.
Well,
I feel like they will drag it because
Yeah,
that's what they do.
we haven't been able to figure out how to do that on this board yet. So
So no dragging, more clicking.
so it's click it, and then click again to place it.
Because I know they all have their.
Yeah,
I
I know.
I think it would work on mine, on the projector screen.
Dale,
It might work on yours. We haven't been able to figure it out yet. We were trying to figure that out yesterday. They can drag on yours, right, Nicole? Or you're not sure?
No, I thought mine was click.
Here's
I think
my
you click the shape and you click the
click the
bucket.
bin. Yours is
Yeah, I
click
don't
too.
think the-
Okay.
There is one that's similar like this and it's a click and, it is a click and drag. I think this is how you're doing it.
Okay. Yeah, so this is clickable. So if we figure out how to do it, because if you were just doing it on a computer, you can use a mouse and just drag it. But so I did the circle too. So I did the circle. I thought, okay, that doesn't have any sides. It's round. So I dragged it, or I clicked it, and then clicked the circle bin. Now, who would like to try another shape? A different shape, maybe one that I haven't done yet. Karen. Okay, so you dragged that into the triangle bin. How did you know that was a triangle?
3 sides.
3 sides. Excellent.
Is it correct? Or does it not?
No, it does. I don't know why it's being.
Does it go here?
No, it does go here. Yeah,
A little off-centered.
I don't know why it's being a
You
little
just have
off.
to touch it twice.
Oh, double click it at the end.
Sounds like that's what you're doing.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. How about a different shape? How about a rectangle? Who can find a rectangle? Rectangles are hard. Jennifer.
She's learned.
Look for the long square.
All right. Let me look.
She's going full forward.
All right. So Jennifer, I'm gonna stop you.
You know that's what they would do.
that's
now
actually-
you want to do them all at once.
So I'll stop you.
Okay.
And how did you know those were all rectangles? That was
Because they all have 2 longer sides and 2 shorter sides and 4 corners.
great. That was a great answer. Now, let's look at those rectangles that Jennifer dragged over there. Do they all look the same? How do they look different?
colors?
This one's fat,
One standing
this
up.
one's skinnier.
Different
this one's tall,
colors,
this one's on its side.
different thickness, different orientation. I guess I would use a different word. if I-
Whoa. You lost me.
This one's
Um,
sleeping, that one's standing.
Yeah, they're in different positions. Very good. But like Jennifer said, she knows they're all rectangles because they all have 4 corners, 2 short sides and 2 long sides. So they might be different colors and sizes, but they're all the same shape. Thank you, Jennifer.
I had a question before we move on. Time. I noticed everything is blocked by times. Was there something from the beginning that told us how long we should be spending on this?
There is in the teacher guide.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll tell you, like 15 minutes for this activity,
Just to keep
30
an eye on the
for
clock. 'cause- Okay.
If you tap that, doesn't it tell you where's time left?
Yeah, actually it does.
Oh, I see what you mean.
That's cool.
Oh,
Mhm.
That's cool to
wow.
know. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So, and that's how much time should be remaining. Yeah, so just, you know, right. And it's worth keeping in mind too, especially because I know you all have different class sizes. So the classes that are larger, of course, this might take a little bit longer because you might want to pull a couple extra students up to the board. And certain games you might not need. So like, for example, I could stop right now and say, okay, we're going to move on. If you don't have time, you don't have to drag every single shape as long as you know they get the gist and they know their shapes and how they should be sorted.
And we could reset it if there wasn't enough, or if someone goes up there and does them all. We could reset it. And
Yeah, well, if you hit reset, it's just going to put everything back.
That's what I
But
mean,
yeah.
in case someone didn't get a turn.
Yeah, I can do that right now. Oh, well, that wasn't fully in there again. Reset.
Okay.
So, yeah. And you could always come back to this too, like if at the end of the day you had 5 or 10 extra minutes, you know, if you just wanted to pull this up and have some students go up to the board and use it, that's totally fine as well. All right, so just for sake of time, I'm going to go on to the next slide. All right, and we already talked about those questions, but what I would like as a bonus, does someone think they can come up to the board and draw a triangle? Now I'm going to pull up.
You guys have scarred me with my diamonds.
I just pulled up the overlay, the pen overlay.
Okay, so you specifically have to question it. And where am I going? Right
And
here?
yeah, right in the white space. All right, great. And Karen knows that's a triangle because
It has 3 sides.
it has 3 sides. Excellent. Thank you. And who wants to come up and draw a square? Rebecca? Okay.
Did you change the color?
I did.
Ah.
I was trying to be slick about it. I thought I did. Actually, it didn't look like it switched. Didn't.
Making a house, Karen.
She's making a shape picture. And how do you know that's a square?
It's got 4 sides and they're the same.
Oh, great, thank you. Okay, now I did it.
Now, is this something you're doing that's just extra? Because we already talked about the questions 1 through 4, and then you just,
Yeah, so actually in your teacher guide, it's not going to say bring kids up to the board and draw shapes. It's not going to talk about the board at all, really. So this is just something extra that I put in. If you had your teacher guide out and were following it word for word, I'm not following it word for word. I'm doing the activities, I'm adding some things in, I might be spending more time on one thing than another. Just like how you always teach, right? I mean, you're probably not always following the exact timing of what the book says. It just depends on your students, your class size, their level of understanding. A lot of times we find with the students that you're serving, they might know their shapes, you know, pretty well, so you don't need to spend a whole, you know, ton of time on this particular lesson, so you might be able to go a little bit more quickly. Who can draw the circle? Who hasn't been up here? Who wants to turn the pen? All right, James. Very nice. And you can change the color on these by hitting the silver buttons. So,
Was that one of the questions in the second?
On your bottom.
I don't know if that was one of the questions. Maybe it should have been.
Probably.
good to know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I just learned that yesterday.
I was wondering what the buttons were.
The black button's for right click, if you wanted this to function as a right click. And the last one is rectangle. Who didn't draw yet? Jennifer. Is that a door?
Whoops. I don't know, I was following the
Wonderful.
curve here.
No, I like it, and I guess we could have put the circle right there's a doorknob too if I went in the right order.
I drew borders.
You do what?
Mars.
Mars.
There's gotta be a summer camp,
Very
right?
good.
Alright.
Is that a summer camp thing?
It was, I was hoping for yellow.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm not,
It's all right.
black, red, and blue were our choices.
We're
Mar-
using
Mars
our
will work.
imagination.
Yeah.
It's really
Great.
hot.
So Jennifer, how did you know that was a rectangle?
2 longer sides, 2 shorter sides, and 4 squares. 4 lines. 4 sides.
4 sides, good, 4 corners, excellent, thank you. I'm going to try something.
Can you just show me again how you got to that sidebar?
Yes, so right down here
Okay.
is the smart overlay, sharp overlay.
Okay.
And you have 2 different overlays that you could use. It needs to just be the overlay and not the software. So you should have 2 things on your boards. You should have overlay and software. Overlay is what you need to open to be able to write
Okay.
on a screen like this.
Okay.
You get your bag, please don't open it yet. Okay, we're gonna keep it shut. She's gonna open it.
I was just gonna say.
Troublemaker.
He is. I'm the goody
Becca.
two-shoes. He's jumping.
You're over the line still.
Oh, yeah.
I should have made the line longer. Maybe if it wasn't clear tape, I would have made it.
Yeah.
I saw that.
All right, so what we have in our bag, what do you guys think we have in our bag?
Lunch.
Good guess. Any other guesses?
Shapes.
Great guess, Jennifer. We actually do have shapes in our bag. We'll have lunch a little bit later. We're
It's
getting
noon time in Massachusetts, so.
Yeah.
We're all totally off in here. All the East Coast people. All right, so I'm going to reach into my bag, just mine, and I'm going to look for a triangle without using my eyes. So, did I find a triangle?
Yep.
I did. I used my fingers to feel something with 3 sides and 3 corners, and I pulled up my triangle. So I'm going to ask you guys, can you, without using your eyes, reach into your bag and pull out a circle?
Oh, I wanted to find it first.
All right, Karen, and once you have it, you can hold it up.
I got yellow.
You got Mars.
I might have yours. Oh.
All right, so do all your circles look the same?
No.
No, I like hers better.
The colors are different.
Hey, I want blue.
Oh,
You're nice,
what a good
James.
friend.
I don't know any other kindergartners like you.
we have good sharing going on up here in case you people in the back can't see. So they're different colors, but they're all circles. Why? Who can tell us why?
No corners.
No corners. It can roll. Another great answer.
But it's
Sharp.
not a circle, it's a
It's
cylinder.
not sharp. Great. These are all good answers. I hope your kindergartners all have these answers too. These are very helpful too. All right. Now let's try to reach in and pull out a square.
Oh, you're so fast.
I know. It's a Massachusetts thing.
Okay. Hold up a square or hold up your squares. Okay. Are they all the same?
No.
I see different
Colors.
Oh,
Sizes.
colors and sizes. So it looks like Karen and I have the same red, and ours is a little bit bigger.
Oh, we're on a team together.
And Rebecca and Jennifer are small and blue, and then James is small and yellow. And they're all squares because
4 corners.
4 corners, 4 equal sides. And well, I'll just skip ahead. I would do rectangle, but that's all I have left in the bag. So let's put all our shapes back in our bag.
Little.
And I will ask just Rebecca to pull out one shape and then tell us what it is.
I found a triangle.
Okay, and how do you know it's a triangle?
Half a diamond. It's got 1, 2, 3 sides.
3 sides. Thumbs up if you agree with Rebecca that it's a triangle. Great, everyone agrees. Good job. Rebecca, you can bring your triangle back, and then Karen, you can pull out a shape that's different from a triangle. And what's that?
A square.
A square. And how do you know?
It still has 4 corners.
4 corners. All right. And how about the sides? What's special about the sides?
They're all the same.
Okay, thumbs up if you agree with Karen that that's a square. You're also supportive. All right, Jennifer, can you pull out a different shape?
I have a circle.
And we know that's a circle because
It has no sides.
sides. Thumbs up if you agree with Jennifer, and thumbs down if you don't. Okay. And what shape is
He
left?
doesn't care.
James, do you remember what
I
shape
know,
is
I had to
left?
think about what she.
Rectangle? No, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right, rectangle. So can you reach in and find a rectangle? The tricky one. It's a small, yes, it's a small
Oh.
rectangle.
That's mine.
All right, and how do we know that's a rectangle?
Two sides, two long sides and two small sides.
Very good. 2 long sides, 2 short sides. Excellent. Okay, so you can put your shapes back in the bag. And I'll just put them over there on the floor for now.
Are these out on a shelf for use during the day?
The shapes?
Yes. These specific shapes that we just got.
They can be.
Okay.
Yeah. You get a whole set of those shapes, and they're different sizes. What I had at home were small, so that's why most of yours are small. And you would just
And
grab
they
these
label
bags.
them with letters.
And you'll notice that in your teacher guides. So maybe I should put that down. Your teacher guide might say have blocks B or C for this particular lesson, and then the blocks all have letters on them.
I know.
Don't you have shapes in general
Yeah.
already in the classroom?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and
I
I-
would keep them
I feel
separate.
like they're
Unless you
nice.
have-
Maybe not put them on a shelf, but put them out that morning for them to like kind of.
Oh yeah, so they
Explore.
get some hands-on exploration before
and
you
they
do the
could
activity.
make like to go with what we just did. We just made a house. Can we do that like on the table in the afternoon? But maybe not
Yes.
put them on the shelf.
That's an
Yeah,
awesome
lost.
suggestion that Karen just said. They can do other activities too. They can make a house out of them, or they can actually, like Johnny had his cat. They can do something with, a house or a car, or a rocket. I don't know. Kids are more creative than I am, but they can make something. All right. So we have one more online piece, which we'll just do a few minutes of for time's sake. But this is the toy maker. So the way we play this game, and we're going to make a toy out of shapes. So we have to help this machine figure out what shape is what. So we are supposed to click the shape that matches what we see here. So I see a shape that's round with no corners, and circle. And then it's going to suck it up into the machine as it gets ready to make its toy. So who thinks they know what shape that is? Karen.
I don't want to be a devil's advocate.
I can tell you.
Cylinder, it's not a circle.
I know. I know. It's a
Which
triangular.
is probably part of the after, right? It goes into 3D shapes.
There are some 3D shapes. Yeah, in the next unit or two, I think. Okay, so we had our circle. I'll just do this one for time.
Oh, it's counting down.
Yeah, it's counting down up here. Okay, who thinks they know what shape that is? You can come up, back up. Right. And how about this shape? Jennifer?
What happens if you push the wrong one?
You can push the wrong one.
Okay. Oh.
Ah.
Sorry. Try
That
again.
was a really mean noise.
That is, yeah. And you know that might set some children off. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in that case, maybe if you're doing the first example, maybe you can click the wrong one. So they say, oh, what shape is this? I think maybe that's half a square, so I'm going to click on the square. And then it'll give you the wrong sound, and then you can ask your students, what shape is that really? So, I guess if you make the first mistake,
Right.
it's easier for them
Right.
to.
Of course.
But that was a good point. And that sound is kind of throughout some of these games throughout the years, so they should get used to it too. 2 parts left. Did everyone come up yet? James? Thank you, Rebecca.
He really was waiting for the rectangle.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if there will be a rectangle.
Looks like one.
It does.
You can click
Good call.
I've seen lots of circles and lots of triangles. What do you think this is going to be?
A bicycle.
A bicycle? I have no idea.
Yeah. Go-kart.
Yeah, the kids would be able
What did you say?
Stop right now.
A stoplight?
What do we do at Blue?
We'll have to see what it means.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It doesn't actually lift off.
That was very disappointing.
I know. But we made a rocket ship, and there's so many different toys this makes. I don't even know how many different toys, but you can always revisit this and come back to it as many times as you want. You'll always get this warning, and unless you click right here to never show me this message again, and then you won't. The purpose of the adaptive lessons are they put them in what we call the high priority master objectives. So something that the students really need to understand before they move on. There's little assessments embedded in here. So like this, one of the triads, I think, I'll look more closely. Basically, you can submit answers into the system, and if you do poorly, if you get them all wrong, or if you get most of them wrong, it will unlock some extra practice activities. So that's what adaptive means. It has the potential to unlock extra practice activities. So what this means for you guys is there's a couple ways you can unlock them. Because you're using that dummy student account I talked about, if you choose to go through the dummy student account, you would just have to input answers that you know are wrong. If you feel as though you have to unlock these, if you feel like your kids know every single one of these, then you can just skip it. You don't have to do the adaptives. But you know what they are because they're going to be here, they're going to be grayed out, like this, right? So they're not unlocked right now. They're there, but they're not unlocked because they don't know if your class needs it or not. So, here. Okay. This try it section here, it'll say this may lead you to more activities. When you see this, and if you want to unlock those adaptive activities, you just basically have to answer them mostly wrong, and it'll unlock the activities for you. Or, and this is the way I prefer with the adaptive, because I think it's easier than answering all the questions wrong. We can access the way a number of you were doing before. If you go to curriculum, I don't know why I keep zooming it. Reference courses, math. The reason I go through reference courses is because these are read only. You can't enter answers, but because of that, the adaptive activities are already unlocked. So you don't have to bother with entering answers wrong. You can just automatically be able to access those activities. I don't know why I keep doing this. This is driving me a little bit crazy. I'm gonna just keep it small for now, just for a second. Okay?
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. I lied. I'm totally not keeping it small. Let me just find that adaptive one. What number was that? Okay, got it. Just keeps getting bigger. Okay. And again, we have our little warning. I'm gonna click on the lesson navigator. And now they're not grayed out anymore, the adaptive activities. So everything under here that was grayed out before is not anymore, and you can click on it. If you wanted to show it to your children. Like I said, maybe you don't. Or maybe you have 3 or 4 students who need extra practice with this skill, which is quite possible. And you could just pull them up in a small group to the board or their computer and do these activities with them while your other students are working in a center, engaged in something else. The other point about these activities is you're not going to see them in your teacher guide because not everyone uses the adaptive activities. So if you already use these, it'll extend your lesson time beyond the 45 minutes. And also any student pages that might be needed are not going to be in here. So there's no adaptive pages in here. We just have to pull them up online, the online version. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so you won't find the materials in here, but they'll be online in soft copy on the board. So I just want to make sure you understood that. That was really the main part about math that I wanted you guys to understand.
And that's only in math you'll see that?
Yes, that's the only time you'll see the adaptive is in math.
Okay.
Good question. The only other part about math is that you also have, you see down here Math Plus Blue, Math Plus Blue Common Core Appendix. Okay. These are, yeah, we might need to. Does that- Yeah, that's something that you guys need to, let me just click on this and then I'll recalibrate after I get through math. Okay, 16 additional lessons. The reason it's in an appendix is because when Math Plus Blue was first published, the Common Core standards were not fully published yet. When they were fully published, there were a couple things that weren't in the original curriculum. So these were lessons that were written to make sure that the course was in full alignment to Common Core. In your math startup guide, you might have noticed at the back, there's like a really long grid. It probably took up like 8 pages or something. It basically shows you when in your curriculum you would slot in these lessons. So it'll show you, you know, in Unit 2, between lessons 7 and 8, you should do Appendix Lesson 1, for example. What I just said is not accurate, but that's an example of what you would see in the table. It just shows you when to slot in these lessons. If you're from Virginia, we'll talk about you more towards the end when we look at the alignments because you're not following Common Core. So you're a little different. Yeah, so I don't think you need to use this at all, but you have other things. Besides this, you have other materials to access. So that's what I wanted to say about math, the appendix lessons and the adaptive lessons. And then I wanted to see, Nicole, did you have anything you wanted to share about math lessons with your